Hello and welcome to Control Delete Tutorials. My name is Jason. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a simple text-based room exploration or room-to-room exploration game just using Python and a Python console. So just printing out text, that's basically what I'm focused on. This tutorial is not specifically meant to try to teach you how to use Python as much as show you how to explore different avenues for doing different things. I will try to explain things as best I can what I'm doing though. So the way I'm going to do this is I wanted to set up a simple text-based game and make it so, if we can see here, let's say you have a starting room and you have different rooms that you could go to from each room. And some rooms will be kill rooms, and some rooms will have other doors that will lead you to other rooms. I want to be able to do this in a way that's dynamic, so I could easily go in and say, add more rooms, and be able to label the rooms in a way, and things like that. So I wanted to start off by creating a room building method or function or definition, whatever term you like to use. So the way that I'm going to approach this is I'm first going to create a method, and I'm going to just start by telling you the format that I'm going to have for this, and I'm going to kind of work backwards from there. So the way I'm going to format my function is first I want to be able to take a list of safe, or a list of rooms that you can go to. I guess would be the best way to play it. So this would just be the first argument that we would have for this method, would just be a list of rooms. So, or a list of doors, that I guess might be a better way to say it. So this is just going to be a list of doors. Okay, so that'll be the first thing that we have there in our format that we're going to have. Separated by a comma, the next thing that we're going to have is the room name that we are currently in. So I'm just going to say the room name. Now I'm capitalizing like this, it doesn't really matter. In the kind of demo that I've come up with, I've made it to where the names are like capitalized like they're proper nouns. It doesn't have to be, that's just how I'm doing it. Next, we're going to have the whether or not this room that we've entered is the last room. So it would be like, if true, it's the last room, which means that if you choose the right door, you win. If it's false, you simply move on to whatever the next room is that we have set up. So we'll take a look at that. So that would be our last room. And this will be a Boolean, so in parentheses I'm just going to say that it has a true or false. Okay, so that'll be set up sort of that way. So this will just take in a true and false. By the way, this list of rooms that we have is also just going to be true or false. So if it's true, that means it's a safe room to go into. If it's false, it is not a safe room. So same idea, true or false. Okay, and then finally we'll have another list. And these are basically going to match up with our list of doors. This is going to be the next room that we would go to. So this is like the list of the next rooms. And this will just be a string, so this will take in a string data type for that. Okay, let's see. So that should give me everything that I'm going to have for my format here. So we'll start off with our keyword def, and we'll just call this room builder. Now I typically like programming in using C# and Unity. So I'm branching out, trying different things. So I'm still messing around with Python. I'm still learning some things. So hopefully I can kind of explain through any blunders that I may encounter. So my list of doors, the first thing I want to do is I just want to have my room list as my first argument that I have. Okay, so I'll have my room list. And then I'm going to have the name of my room, so room underscore name. And then, is this the end room? So I could do is end room, since I'm saying that this is a Boolean. So is end room. And then finally we have the next rooms, which the next rooms is probably going to be the most advanced part of this entire tutorial. All right, so we end our method here or function with a colon. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce people to this room. So the way I do that is I'm just going to have a print message. Now, I will end up showing in another tutorial how we can make it to where this will type out messages one key at a time. We could do that. But right now, I'm just going to do a print message. So we'll do print. And I want to introduce them to the room. Now I'm going to do a formatted set of text. So I'm going to do an F and then quotes. And in quotes, I'll put in the first part of my message. So this will say, you have just entered. And now this is a formatted string that I have here. So I can put any variables in between these curly braces, and that variable is going to be the name of my room. Okay, so that's my room name. So I'll use the name of my room in there. Okay, whether you want to put punctuation at the end, that's really up to you. You don't have to. Not there, though. You want to do that. I don't know where my other curly brace went, but maybe I accidentally had that selected. Okay, so this is going to take whatever I name the room and it's going to put it here. So it's going to print out this message. Now, if I wanted, I could have it to where after each message, I just have a short pause. So if I want to do that, I can just import in the time module. So import time. And I'm really only going to be using sleep, so I guess I could only import that, but that's fine for right now. Okay, so if I want to make this sleep for a small amount of time, I'll just do time.sleep. And you can see this has one argument that it takes in the parameters for seconds. So I could put in a time, 0.5. Yeah, that's probably enough time, maybe 1 sec. Maybe, but that's probably enough. But ideally, let's use a variable for this that I'm just going to call delay. And I'll set that instead to 0.5. And we're going to have a little bit of space between our variables here and our method. So instead of 0.5, I'm going to put in delay. Okay, so we'll delay before our next message. Okay, next I want to create a variable that counts how many rooms are in my list. That way I can use that number to create some other dynamic features of this method. So I'm going to do room count. Room underscore count, and I'm going to set that to the length of my room list. So we can do that by calling on the len function, and in parentheses here I'm going to put in my room list. So this is going to allow me to take however many things are in my list, get the amount of those, and just store it as a variable so that we can call back on it later. I also want to create an empty list that we can add things to here in a moment. These are going to be my door choices, so however many choices I end up having. This is going to be based off of how many rooms there are that we can go to. So I'll have my choices, and that's going to just equal an empty set of brackets. So it's an empty list for now. Now, I want to dynamically build an input message. Based on my door count, I guess, list of doors, number of doors that I have. Okay, so something like that. Let's make sure we're back in our method. Remember, if we backspace here, we're out of our method at this point. We want to make sure that our code is starting off here as long as we don't have any other indents. So I'm just going to create a variable to hold our input message. So I'm going to do, not caps, input, and we'll call it input underscore message. That's a good name. And currently this is going to start with the first half of our sentence. So our first half is going to tell us that we can choose a door and use the input function to pick what door. So we're going to do choose a door. And we want to start giving them a format. So the format is going to be in parentheses however many doors that we have. So that'll be the first thing that we'll have, or the next thing that we'll have here. Next, I'm going to add each door name to a list and to a message. So example, door 1, door 2, door 3. So the way I'm going to do that, and this will be part of our dynamically created input message. And I decided to have this message broken up into 2 parts so I can use the second half in another part, which you'll see. So again, I'm just going to type out a comment here. Each door name, add each door name to the list and to a message. So an example of that, so an example would be like door 1, door 2, and door 3. Okay, so that'll be what I'll have there. Okay, so back inside of our method, I'm going to say door message. So this will be something we use later, and well, that's not how you spell words. Message. And we'll set that to equal just an empty string for now. And then we're going to create a for loop. And this for loop is going to count a range. So that range is going to be based off of our room count. And we're essentially going to take our choices list and add to it all of our doors. And I want my doors to be numbered 1, 2, and 3. But our indexes are always going to start at 0. So I'll have to take whatever my amount is and add 1 to it so that I get things to name correctly. So let me just scroll up here. Okay. So for loop is going to start like this. I'm going to have the word for. I'm going to call the variable that we're going to use to count. I'm just going to call it count. Nice simple name. You can name that whatever you want. This will be used in the for loop. And then we're going to get a range. So for count in range. And I'm going to use the room count here. So that's the variable we created up there. You can see that it's here. Okay. We always end in a colon. So this is the room count. So however many things are in my list are going to populate a room count number, and I'm going to use that as the range for creating this part of my loop. Okay, so remember we should be indented here. If you're not indented, you probably forgot your colon on the end of your for loop condition. So here I'm going to go through and I'll do my choices. So to my choices, I'm going to append, which means I'm going to add something to my list. And in the parentheses for this, by the way, if you want to know how I keep getting the rest of these messages to fill out, so if I start and I select something here from my list, if I hit tab, or if I hit enter from something in the list, it's going to go ahead and populate the rest of whatever that method or function is that we're using. So in here, I'm going to use a formatted string. So we used these before. And in this, I'm going to put our door. So that's going to be the first part of it. And then I want to put the number, so door 1. So the way I can do that is I have a count. And the first time that this for loop cycles through, count equals 0. So I want to add on to it in my formatted strings, curly braces. I want to put in the count, but I don't want door 0 because that just looks weird in the game to have door 0. So instead I'm going to say count plus 1. Okay, so that's going to create the name for my door and add it to my choices list because I'm going to have a list of doors that I want to choose from. And then I'm going to create an if statement. That if statement is going to say, if the count plus 1 is less than the room count, I want my message to be formatted a certain way. So I'm given kind of two options here. So up here, if I wanted my message to be in parentheses, it would look something like this. Okay, so this is just in my comment. So here I have choose a door, and I have a starting parenthesis, which would represent this. And then I'm going to add to the message door 1 with a comma, with a space, door 2 with a comma with a space. But if it's the last item in our count, the last cycle that it's making in our for loop, I want it to print out door 3 with a parenthesis next to it. So that way it kind of gives the user an idea of what the format's going to look like. All right, so how do I do that? So here I'm going to say if my count plus 1, if this is less than my room count, let's make sure my code is correct here. Yep, okay. So if my count plus 1 is less than my room count, I want the door, the formatting here for adding this onto our door message. I want it to be door message plus equals. So I'm going to add to the message. I'm going to basically attach this to the end of what's already here. So I've got choose a door, parentheses. I want to add in the next part here. So that's what I'm going to have. So here I'm going to add on a formatted string. Okay, so make sure we put F before it so we can format it. So I'm going to have the word door, just like we had up above. And then curly brace, count plus 1. And then I want to add to that a comma and a space. So that's going to represent door. So there we have the word door. And then the number 1, comma, space. So I'm basically adding this in to this door message. So I'll have choose a door, door 1, comma, space. Okay, so that's if the count plus 1 is less than the room count. Otherwise, if it's not, so we're going to use a else statement here, else, colon. Basically going to do the same sort of thing, only the end of it's going to have a different format. So we can go ahead and copy this, Control C, Control V. So the first part of this is going to be the same, but the end is going to be different. So instead, I'm going to have parentheses, space. Because I want to leave a space so when this is this input message and door message are combined, I will get one input message that's cohesive. And you'll see what it looks like whenever I run it through and try it. And we'll try this in just a minute to make sure what we're doing is currently working. All right, so we have everything there. All right. Next, I'm going to add another comment just to let you guys know what I'm doing. So on the door message, onto the back of the input message, I'm going to add that in. So I'm going to add the door message onto the back of the input message. So that's what I'm going to write. By the way, you don't have to write my little comments here. It is good to comment your code, though. Door message onto the back of the input message. Okay. So we want to make sure we tab back in so that we are again lined up with our for loop and our door message, and we're tabbed in with everything else. So we always want to make sure that, you know, where we are in our methods, we're in the right block of code. Okay, so I'm going to take the input message. Here's my input message. And for this, I'm going to append or add on, so I will add on the door message. Okay. Just so we can see what we have currently, I'm just going to print out this message. and hopefully everything works. I haven't called this code anywhere, so I will have to input some code in order to do that. So we'll do that as well. So I'm going to print whatever my input message currently is. All right. I'm going to hit enter 3 times, and I'm going to backspace so that I'm out of this block of code. Okay, so I'm leaving a little space between the bottom of my method here, my room builder method, and before I have my first line of code that's going to run. Technically, this would be my first lines of code that will run, but same idea. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this function and input some current values just to make sure it's working. Hopefully it does work. If not, we're going to have to add a little bit more to it. Okay, so we have our room builder, and our first thing, let's say I wanted to have 3 rooms. So in brackets, I'm going to put true or false values. So I want all the values to currently be true because I want all 3 of the doors, even though there are no doors, to be true. Okay. So any door I choose is going to be the right path here. Outside of the square brackets and before the end of our encapsulation, our parameters here, we'll do a comma. We're going to name whatever the room is because that's the second thing. You can see here it says room name. Okay, the room name, we can call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it the entrance hall. Now you can name it whatever you want, doesn't really matter. Entrance hall. Okay. After the quotes, we'll do a comma and we'll do our next thing. So this is this the room end? False. It is not the room end. Now, these later things are not going to do anything because we haven't called them yet. So we don't really have to worry about this too much. And then finally, since I have 3 potential rooms that I can go in, I need to have a list of 3 potential rooms that we could go in. And the names of those. Now, I could organize this to put things a little closer together. This is just how I decided to do it and how things fall. So I could have a kill room, but I don't. So let's say my first room is the kitchen. We'll just put kitchen. Okay, this is going to be used later to call some functions, which again is probably going to be the most advanced part of this. The next one we'll say is the bedroom. And then finally we'll have library, or office. Let's just go office. Okay, these are all going to be strings. Okay, so again, these are the next rooms. So this room that we have here on our list has a true or false value. True means that it's safe to go into. False means that it will kill you. All of them are currently true. These are the names of the methods that we'll call later. We don't currently have the code, so this shouldn't cause an error. But these are the names of where we're going. Okay? So hopefully everything is okay. And we are going to, I'm just going to right click and run. Okay. So, you've just entered the entrance hall, which is true if we look at the code. It should tell us, based on our message up here, you have just entered the entrance hall. Now notice, I did capitalization here. I mean, honestly, that's not how you're going to write things, but I wanted it to be like each place is some sort of proper noun. If you want to change this, if you don't like the capitalization, then by all means, change this however you would like. Doesn't really matter. I just wanted to give every room its own name. Okay, so room builder, true, the entrance hall, these other rooms. Okay, we don't currently have any of this other stuff to worry about, but we can see that it had dynamically created door 1, door 2, and door 3. And we can see that it did that because we have 3 values here. Now, this is what I like about this. If I want to go in and add more items, so let's say I want to give you 4 doors to the room, or 5 doors. We can just simply do this. We don't even have to name these just yet, just because we don't currently have this code being used. So I'm not going to worry about that just yet. But if you had 5 rooms here, you'd have 5 rooms here. That's just how the code is set up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit play. All right, and there we have 5 rooms, or 5 doors that we can go in. It'd be a big room with 5 doors, but you can see that it's building this message dynamically based off of this for loop. It's going through each time and adding in our doors appropriately, and it's ending it with a parentheses at the end, whereas the other ones all have commas. That's pretty cool. That's handy. We've also added these to our choices. So if I went here and I said, go ahead and print choices. So this is going to print my list. And if I print those out as well, let's go ahead and we'll just get rid of that for now. You don't have to do these print messages. I just want you to see what we have. Okay, so here it's given us our list, so you can know it's a list because it's encapsulated in square brackets. And then in between you have door 1, door 2, door 3, door 4, door 5. So it's automatically added these things to our list. So far so good. We're going to get rid of this message for now. We don't need to have that. Okay, we're going to leave this down here. This will be used later, so for right now we're just going to keep it where it is. Okay. We could also sleep between our message there. So up here we did sleep delay. Here we can do it again, just to give us a little bit of time in between these, just so everything's not happening at once. Gives us a small moment of time to see something else has changed. Otherwise, it's going to print all of our messages at once, and that's going to be kind of annoying. All right, and we'll sleep for that delay variable. All right, so here's where it's going to start to get a little tricky, a little more complicated. I've created a while loop that is basically going to let us input a command, and then that's going to look for us putting in these different doors. So if the command is located in our choices, we're basically going to go through the room list, get the index value of that, see if it matches, see whether or not it's the end room, and if it is, we'll do some commands. If it's not, we'll do some different commands. Otherwise, we know it's a kill room and it will kill us. And if it's not found in that list, so if we type in some nonsensical word that's not door 1, door 2, or door 3, or whatever, we're going to get a message that says, sorry, you must type in something. So that'll be the next part. Again, this will probably be one of the more complicated parts that we'll do. And I'll try to walk you through the logic as much as I am able. Okay. So I like a little bit of space between different parts of my code, so I'm just separating here. So we are still within the method here. So we should be lining up with Room Builder. If you've tabbed in or tabbed out here, make sure that you fix that, okay? So you should be 1 tab in, so you line up. Now, if you had this in a class, you're going to have to change your tabs accordingly. All right, so we're going to start off with our while keyword, and this function is just going to be while true for now. We could end up going in and put other stuff in this, like if we had player health, and maybe instead of going into a kill room, instead of it killing them, it damages them or something. I'm just trying to make this a very simple tutorial. Okay, so we should be tabbed in from here. We're going to create a variable called command. That's just looking for some sort of input. And we can use the input function. And in that input function, we're going to put our input message that we created there. Okay, so that's our input message. So now we can run an if condition that's checking that command of whether or not that command appears in our choices. So let me explain what that means. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to say if the command we just typed, so remember when we use the input function, it's going to ask us a question and it's going to let us return that. Let's go ahead and do this. Just for now, I'm going to print whatever that command is that we typed in. Okay? Just so we can see exactly what this information is doing, just in case you don't really get it just yet. Okay, we'll come back to this in a minute. So we'll hit play. Okay, choose a door. Okay, so I've got my ability to type here now. So if I type in door 1, and I hit enter, my command that I've typed in is door1. Okay, now it's going to ask me again if I type in something else, blah. Then it's going to give me something else. Okay. Something else we might want to do is format this text. So I'm going to go ahead and just quit running the code there. We may want to format this text so that if we know it's always going to be lowercase, we can just tag on here the dot operator, dot lower, parentheses. So that's going to convert whatever we type automatically to lowercase. That way, if somebody were to type in, door, I can't type right now, but here. So even if I type in door1, it's going to automatically convert that to lowercase because we need this to match up with this. Okay, it needs to match up letter for letter, or else it's not going to work. And you can see, since we have this while loop, this is just continuing to run until we break out of it because we're not using an actual condition for it. Let's go ahead and minimize that so we can see more. All right, so while true, we're doing a command. All right, so now we are going to check if our command is in our choices. So we say if command is in choices. So we know that in our choices, that's how we've created this whole thing in the first place, is we've gone through and we've added door1, door2, door3 to our choices. So our command should be in here. So if it is, we want to end our conditional statement there. I'm going to have another if statement within here. But if it's not, I want to print out a message. Okay? So I don't want to do pass. So here I'm going to do an else statement, just so you can see. And in this else statement, if our command is not in our choices, we're going to print a message to the user. That's a formatted message, formatted string. And in here I'm going to say something like, sorry, you must enter. And I'm going to put in the parentheses. Oops, let's put a space there, parentheses. And now I'm going to append on here the door message. Not append, I said append. I'm going to add on to here. I guess it's sort of a similar idea. Okay, so the door message was only the second half of this. And that just had door1, door2, door3. And I had to include a parentheses here because it's not in this message. So we just have to have it there. Okay, so that should be the end of that. So we can test this and see what it says. Now, typically we don't want to just pass here. So tell you what, if it is in there, just for now, we'll change this in a minute. We'll just print found. Okay, so if it is found in the list, it'll say found. Otherwise, it's going to say sorry. Okay, let's test that out. Really glad all the code seems to be working so far. May not be a bad idea to put on a semicolon or something here so someone knows that they could type in. If we wanted to do that, we can just simply add that into our door message at the very end here by just simply adding, we could add in either, one of these, and that would allow us to know that we could type there. You may also just do something like that, and that would change the message up. Let's see how that looks now. So if we'll, okay, so now we get a little cursor there. So something like that. That just lets us know, oh, we can type over here. Okay, choose a door. Door 1, door 2, door 3, door 4, door 5. If I type in door 1, I get found. If I type in door 2, it's also found. If I type in cheese, sorry, you must enter door 1, door 2, one of those. So this lets us know the format for entering things. Good. It's good to know that that works. Let's see. There was something else I was just thinking about us putting in, but we got a found message. Oh, I wanted to put a pause because things kind of popped up quickly there. So let's see. I feel like I have a pause there. We have our message that appears. Oh, I think I just had them here. So if you want, you can have this pause right before it does it. It's really up to you. So if you want to do that, just put in your time.sleep delay. You can add in a pause there. Okay, not really necessary. You could leave it. It's really up to you guys. So okay, so instead of print found, is there anything else I want to do to that? I think that's it. That should restart our thing, our while. So yeah, we're good there. Okay, so if our command is in there, we're going to do another if statement. Now this part will get slightly confusing, and I'll try to explain what it is I'm doing. So if the command is found in our choices, then we also want to check that we want to check for the true that we have down here, or a false. Okay, so we want to check for that. Okay, so how do I check for this being true? Well, I know this is the first value up here. Okay, that's the room list, so we'll call on room list. Okay, so if room list, now room list is a list, so we're going to have square bracket notation for our index. So how do we check our index that we would have here? So I want to get the 0th thing, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, from here. So I want to get the 0 thing. Well, I could put 0, but what if the person in the command, what if they didn't type, what if they typed door 2? That would be this one, or door 3, that would be this one. So I know that I just saved the door. Let me minimize this so we can see more. I know I just saved the word door 1 or door 2 or door 3 or whatever. Here is the command. So what I can do is I can go to my choices, because up here I know that in my choices I can get an index number. And I can get an index number using our list. You can see here it has a index value. Okay, so what do I want to put in the index? Well, I want to put in the name of this first value. But this is just called true. I haven't really done anything here to give this a name. But in my choices, my first object is door 1. So if I want to return the first index value of this, I could just simply say, hey, give me the choices first object or whatever object based off of the name of the command I put in. So if my command is door 1, door 1's index value would be 0. So if I'm saying room list, give me the index value of my choices based off of the word I typed in, which was door 1, it's going to give me the index value 0. So that's a fun little cheat. Put a colon there at the end of our if statement. And we're gonna check another if statement within here. I know we're kind of going down the rabbit hole here, but stay with me. We'll figure out what we have. We're also going to have some else statements when we come back from here. We'll have an else statement. So if this is true, okay, room list. If this is true, remember I said that means this room is safe. Otherwise, the room isn't safe. Okay, I'm just going to type pass here for a second so I don't get an error. Otherwise, I know it's not a safe room. So that's my else statement. So my else here is going to, I could delay our time again if I want to. Or I could create a function called kill, and I could call that function. So for now, I'll just put in kill. This is going to give me an error, but I'm not worried about that. I also want to break out of this loop because I'm dead. Game over. Okay, so I'm going to break. So that'll break me out of the loop. Kill. So kill does not currently exist. Why don't we go ahead and put that in now so we can get rid of this ugly underline. So if we're going to call on a method, we need to have that method take place before our other method. So it needs to already exist. So we're going to go down 3 times and backspace. 1, 2, 3. Well, we don't have to backspace because we're not currently in a method. And then we'll create our definition for kill. So def kill. You can give it a happier name if you want to. It doesn't really matter. And all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to delay my message, time.sleep by delay. And I'm just going to print a message saying, you died, you're died. Okay, exclamation point, sad face. Okay, so kill means you died. Let's go ahead and also put one for win while we're up here, because we will end up having one for a win definition. And currently the win definition is just going to say something simple like you win. Okay, kind of basic, doesn't serve a huge amount of purpose, but it'll be good. All right, same idea. Time.sleep, delay, and that gives us our win for when we want to win. We're also going to be making definitions for any rooms that we're going to have. So down here, we had a kitchen and a bedroom and an office. We had 5 things here. So let's go ahead and just give ourselves 3 rooms to start out in. Okay. Okay, so just 3 rooms. So you should have true, comma, true, comma, true. Okay, right now you can't die in the game. Everything's a happy ending. We'll change that eventually. Okay, so here we had a kitchen, a bedroom, and an office. So for the time being, we're going to just create those 3 methods just so we have them. So 1, 2, 3, backspace. We'll say def, and what do we have? Kitchen. Okay, we want to be sure that our spelling is exactly the same, and we can just currently print a message just so we don't get any errors here. You are in the kitchen. We'll change this out later. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and just copy this code. 1, 2, 3, backspace, paste. 1, 2, 3, backspace, paste. All right, so we had kitchen. What do we have? My memory's terrible. Bedroom, office. Okay, so I'll do kitchen, bedroom, office. So let's just copy and paste this here. Office and office. All right. You want to make sure the spelling of these is exactly the way that you have them down here. If this is capitalized, don't make them capitalized actually. So lowercase all the way. Bedroom, 1 word. Office, 1 word. Make sure they match up. That's going to come in handy later. Okay? And we'll fill these in with some actual stuff here in a little bit. All right, let's get back to where we were. Okay, so if we scroll down here, all right, we got this kill that we called. We no longer have an underline, and we've broken out of this part of the code. Okay? Next, we're going to replace where we have pass here. So this is if we're in the end room. Okay? So here we can check if, and we have a variable for is end room. So we'll do if is end room. Okay, so if it's true, this code will run, else it won't run. So if it's true, I want to do a couple of things. I want to print a message. If this is the end room, that means we've completed everything and we're done. So I want a happy message. Maybe we could say, let's delay our time on this. And we'll print a message that references Indiana Jones, and we'll say, you have chosen wisely. I must put Wesley. You have chosen wisely. Okay. Put a little delay there before our next part. Time.sleep. Delay. Okay. Then we'll call on our win message. Actually, our win message starts with a delay, so we don't even need this one here. I know I did that for a reason. So we're going to call win. And then if it comes back here, we're just going to go ahead and break because the game's over. And that'll take us out of the while. So yeah, logic looks good there. Now we need to have an else statement for this if. So we're going to hit enter, backspace, else, enter. Okay, so here we will just simply do, once again, if you don't want to do the time.sleeps, you can leave these out there. It's fine. I know I keep saying that, but if you're going to say something, you might as well say it a million times. All right, so here we'll print out a message that tells us to go to the next room. Okay, kind of pointless, but gives us some story stuff to read. Please proceed to the next room. Okay, might as well take a little nap after that, time.sleep, and we'll delay again. All right. Now, I actually had to look this part up because in Unity and using C#, I can tell you how to call another method just by the name, the string name of it. Okay, we can do invoke or invoke repeating depending on what we're using in C# and Unity. Those belong to Unity though. We're not working in Unity anymore. So I had to look up, okay, how do I do this? And what's one way I can do this? Well, we don't really have any classes or anything right now that we're importing in. So there are a couple of different methods I saw online. The one that worked for me and the one that said, make sure that this method exists or else this breaks your code. So we need to make sure that everything is typed exactly as we have here. And we're going to use eval. Okay? So this is going to evaluate the code that we have here. So what are we looking for? We're looking for the next room. We're going to get the index value of that room. And then we're going to put out the parentheses. So that way we can make it like we're calling a method by name by using the string name of the room. Not confusing enough. Great. All right, so here, this is our fourth part here. Kitchen, bedroom, living room, dinette. Kitchen. So this falls under our functions next rooms. Now you can see this is gray. It means we haven't used it yet. Okay, next rooms. So the next rooms is what we're calling on, and we want to get index 0 or index 1 or index 2. We already did this. We did this right up here. And since this falls under command in the choices, and we know that the command is something that we typed in and it found it in the choices, that this code will work unless you goof it up somehow. So don't goof it up. So next rooms, we need the item in the list, the index value. We can do that by doing choices. And in here, we're going to call .index. So we're going to return the index value that it finds based off of the command. Okay, and then we're going to go outside of this bracket. Okay, so outside of the square bracket before the parentheses. And we're going to add to this, okay, every method that we call, sorry, in quotes, has the open and close parameters parentheses here. Okay, so we need to have that on there. So it's basically saying next room. So let's say we had door 1. Door 1 is index 0. So this is going to say next room index 0. As long as I typed everything in there correctly. Choices.index command, choices.index command. Yeah, that all looks good. So next rooms, index 0. So door 1 would be index 0. That would be kitchen. So if I wanted to call kitchen with a parentheses next to it, that is going to evaluate, which means it's going to call this function, which is kitchen, with parentheses next to it. Okay, so that's going to call the code that is up there. For me, that was the hardest part of creating this whole thing, was figuring out a way that I could do that. There might be an easier way. I don't pretend to know everything about Python, but yeah. So that's the main part of our code. This handles like 90% of everything that we do. So let me make sure we have everything. Okay, we got creating our code there. We've got our input command, and we'll have to check and make sure everything is good and I didn't type anything weird. So I've got 3 if statements in a row. I've got an else statement that has our please proceed. It's going to the next rooms. Oh, we're going to break after that, just in case. We want to make sure we get out of this. Now this is going to call another function, so it's going to go somewhere else in our code. But we don't want to keep executing our while statement here, which it should be the end of it anyway, so it shouldn't matter. That's just kind of precautionary. I don't know if Python needs that much babysitting, but we're just making sure. Okay, everything looks the same there. Okay. Okay, so that should be our entire function there. Now, what do we need to do when we go to each room? Okay, so each room needs to call a new room builder. Okay, it needs to be just like this, room builder, and have some sort of functionality put in. Now, I will end up putting in kill rooms. I haven't done that yet. Okay, we want a nice happy game where it takes us through. So I'm going to go to, let's say I go to my first room. So that's going to be my kitchen. Okay, so I go to the kitchen. Instead of you are in the kitchen, you know what? Let's just make sure this works first before we mess everything up. So let's go ahead and hit play. All right, you've just entered the entrance hall. Choose a door. All right, we're going to go door 1. Door 1 should be our kitchen. Door 1. All right. So it said, please proceed to the next room. You are in the kitchen. We exited. We got exit code 0, which means we didn't crash. So that's good. So yeah, we went to the kitchen. Good. All right. What else? Let's go to room number 2. So door 2. Okay, proceed to the next room. You are in the bedroom. Good. So that bedroom message took us up to the bedroom. Fancy. All right, third one. Let's make sure that all works. Door number 3. Okay, door number 3, please proceed to the next room. You are in the office. Okay, so all of that works. Now, let's say we want a room to kill us. So down here, let's say room number 1 will kill us. That's a false. Now, we don't necessarily have to go in here and type kill so it takes us to the kill room, but I ended up doing this so that in my mind, I know which one, like where I'm going. So I know, okay, this is false, this is a kill room. This functionally will do nothing now, but it keeps bedroom in the right position and office in the right position with these two. So it's mostly just good housekeeping. So let's see if that works. You entered the entrance hall. Let's go into door 1. And you died. Oh, that's so sad. I feel so bad about that. All right, so that all worked. So that's good. Okay, so we need to decide like where we're going to go and create a bunch of rooms so that we can do these things. So now if I want to go from like room to room, all I literally have to do, let's put this back to true. And let's see what happens if, so we want this to be the kitchen. Okay. So I'm just going to make it to where we can go to each of these rooms and put in other rooms that we can go to. Okay, so let's say the first one, we've got 3 choices to make to go anywhere. We can go to the kitchen, we can go to the bedroom, we can go to the office. Now, like I said, I drew out a little map so I could keep track of like my number 1 room, 2 room, and 3 rooms, and then my rooms off of that. So let's say each of these have 2 rooms that you come off of. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, Control C, Command C if you're on a Mac, right? Is that true? All right, so I'm going to go to the kitchen. Okay, this isn't going to say this anymore. Control V. Now all I have to do is say, okay, if I want 2 rooms, okay, 2 rooms. And let's say I want one of them to kill you, so I don't even need to name this room. Okay, so this is a false. We change this to kill, which doesn't matter, but we need only 3 options here. Okay, we don't want to have too many. Okay, and let's say this takes you, okay, from, where are we, the kitchen? You go to the dining hall, or dining room. okay, from the kitchen. So we name that dining, let's do all one word, dining room here. And we don't want this to say the entrance hall. We're in the kitchen. So this should say the kitchen. Okay, so that changes that message. So this is going to call Room Builder, and it's going to plug in all these new things. Okay, we only got 2 rooms. Let's use this one again. Okay, bedroom. Okay, so from the bedroom, let's say our first room is good, but our right room is false. Just to make it a little different. This one is the bedroom, so we'll put bedroom here. This one is not the last room. Okay, so since this is true, from the bedroom, we're going to go to, let's say, the bathroom. That's a good place to go, especially if someone's killing you. We'll just type kill here again, just so we know the second option is kill. It's not going to ever run. We don't ever have to worry about it. It's just to make sure that we keep all of our indexes the same. Okay, so that's the kitchen. Now, we don't currently have a method called dining room, so we'd have to make one of those. Since we're calling it, we want to put it above this one just so we know that things are running in a certain order and that everything will work. All right, we can go ahead and change this. Okay, this is the office. Do-do-do. All right, the office. Room builder, we'll just keep that false true, whatever. Not the last room. This one is a kill room. You go from the office into the nook. Okay, if you got a nook. Okay, that'll take you there. All right, so we need a nook. We need a bathroom and a dining room. So we can literally just take these 3. Oh God, these 3. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to come up here, enter, backspace, Control V to paste, and we're going to change these. We want to make sure our naming is the same. So these are the top ones. These are the bottom ones. We can't have them be the same. It's giving us little warning things here going, hey, you can't do that. Okay, so this one was the bathroom. So we'll put that there. Makes it nice and easy. We know our naming is the same. That's the bathroom. And we're going to make all of these win rooms. So no matter which one you choose, as long as you choose the right one, it's a win. Okay, so if you go into the bathroom and you go to the next, or you choose the left room, then that's the win. Okay, the bathroom, this actually doesn't matter now either. So we'll just type win is the left room. Kill is the right room. Let's see, this one, same idea. Copy this, nook. That's the nook. We're in the nook. False, true. So false. And we'll just type win here because it's not going to matter because this code is never going to run because we are going to win because we're going to type true here. And we don't need to have methods. Well, we already have methods for kill and win, so this all works. And then finally, the kitchen. We've come from the dining room, so we need a dining room. This is the dining room. Is dining room one word? Dining room? I don't know. Let's put a space in there, make it happy. Okay, no matter what, if we choose the right one, that'll be a win too. Put the word win here. Doesn't really matter, like I said. And we should be good. Why is this underlined? It wants us to do underscore. It doesn't matter. It's just saying that's not a word. We should have an underscore right here. You know what? I don't care. So deal with it. We could do it, but if we do that here, which will get rid of an underline, we need to make sure we go down here and I didn't mean to rename this one. We'll fix that in a second. Okay. So we'll need this to have an underscore. And I don't know that it would cause a problem, but I want this to be back under where it's going to be called from. Okay, so it should have been like that. So dining room will take you to the dining room. That's how I organize my code just so it works. We got an underline here because we got a bunch of spaces. Okay, so that's fixed. We want to typically have 2 spaces, or else it's gonna do this. And that's in PyCharm, which is the program I'm using. If you're using Pythonista on the iPad or something, all of this stuff will still work. All right, so let's make sure. We got win. Oh, we don't have a win message. That's what we're missing. Let's put a win message here. You've won. You should get a really cool message like, you won. That's a cool message, right? All right, now we got a nice message there. We got 2 spaces. Kill. Okay, that says you died. The bathroom. Okay, the bathroom is a win room, so it doesn't really matter what we put here. This is true. True matches win. False matches kill. Again, doesn't really matter because you're not going to end up seeing that because it's a true room, but still. Yeah, we should be able to go through this and try this out. Now, what I would do is I would make this a little more advanced. I'd make it to where, every time you die, it counts how many times you died or how many times you failed, so that at the very end, you get a message that says you died this many times, and you can do that with a counter. Those are all things that you could do with this. Let's test it out, though. Make sure everything works. Make sure I didn't goof anything up. All right, we just entered the entrance hall. We got 3 doors to choose from. I'm going to go in the door on the left. Door 1. Okay, pursuit. Let's make this a little big. All right, there we go. All right, you just entered the kitchen. Cool. I don't remember which was which. Let's say we go to the door on the right. That would be door number 2. Please proceed to the next room. You just entered the dining room. Good choices so far. All right, dining room. I don't remember which side that was on. So let's go door 1. So I need to go door 1, door 2, door 2. All right, let's run her again and see what happens. We could make the entire thing a while loop so that we could go back through it again, but that's fine. All right, what did I say? Door 1. Oh, come on. Door 1. Okay, door 2. Unless I goofed and I made both of them kill rooms. Door 2. You've chosen wisely. You won. Woo! Now, you'd want to go through and check to make sure every single option works properly. Okay, so I started with door 1. So we would do door 2 and door 2. Okay, I don't know. Door 2 again, maybe? Oh, I died. What rotten luck. Let's try it again here. All right, door 2. All right, 50-50 shot. Door 1. All right, door 1. Hey, all right, so that one works. And then finally door 3. Door 3. Okay, the office, I don't know, door 2. Probably chose wrong. Hey, good. Nook, let's do door 2 again. Good. All right. So we can see that those all work. Now I would also want to run through and make sure all of the wrong options work as well. But that's basically it for the game. I'd like to see what people would do with this from here. So kind of interested in that. That's fine. All right, so one more time back through here. I'm just going to slowly scroll down the code while I just say good luck on this. So hopefully everything works out for you. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Still figuring out Python a little bit. I've used C# for years, so this is a new and different thing for me. So just check your code, make sure it works, look for things being underlined, try to fix those, and see how you can improve upon what I've created. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching.